Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Crew First Culture podcast. My name is Jeremy Sanders, and thank you very, very much for spending some time with me today. Once again, it feels like every time I record an episode, I say the same thing, but it's been a while. I've kind of struggled getting things out there verbally. I feel like my mind works in one direction. It's either I can do it verbally or I can do it written. And I've been doing a lot of writing here lately, and so it just feels like my mind does not transfer things verbally. So it's hard for me to sit down and record anything because I don't want to just record a bunch of nonsense. But anyway, I'm going to try something different than I've done in a while, and hopefully this will help me put a few more episodes out there at a little bit more regular pace. I'm gonna try to keep them shorter, and what that means I will just see, but 10-15 minutes would be nice to kind of throw some thoughts out there, start some discussions, and just get some of the things that I am dealing with, I am growing through, I am learning from, and so on out, and hopefully share some of those experiences with everybody else, and hopefully, even more hopefully, get a little feedback from everybody on what they think. And so we'll try that. This will be kind of that first in that revamping of the process, and hopefully we'll have some guests on, like we've done in the past, and those of course be longer, just because they're just great conversations, and I don't want to cut those short. But as far as what I'm doing by myself, I want to try to get a little bit more consistent, just like I always say. But that being said, here we go. So, welcome everybody to the last couple of days of 2022. I hope the year has been good for you. It's 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 been a little up and down for us. Probably better and less stressful, I would say, than 2021 and the year previous or two were. So maybe that's better. But I literally was just sitting here thinking this morning that I do a lot of jotting down. When things hit me, when thoughts hit me or quotes hit me, I keep a book and I want to write it down. Or if I don't have access to the book, I've got the notes section in my phone, and I'll do a lot of it in there too. But I kind of want to go back through all those for the year and just see what some really good takeaways were. Go back and figure out what some of the most profound thoughts or quotes that I came across are, some of the biggest lessons I learned. So just some of the really impactful things that I encountered over the year. And one of those actually just literally happened on my way home this morning. I'm recording this on December 30th, and we'll probably put it out the same day, I would imagine. But so as I'm thinking about kind of the year as it has happened, one of the coolest things that has kind of come to me literally happened in the last couple of days of the year. But it's an area, or it's a topic that I've really been thinking a lot about, struggling a lot with here lately, with certain situations in my own department. And really, I think it's something that needs to be addressed, not just locally. It's something that I feel is really holding a lot of departments back. And so, just to give credit where credit is due, the thought came as just a seed through some of the discussions in a John Maxwell leadership podcast, and I kind of took what he was saying and put my own words to it, and kind of tailored it to how I was feeling, or how I am really struggling with, how it's affecting the fire service. And I'll just read it. I put it out in a post earlier, so some of you may have already seen it, but just this is where I'm going, and we'll go from there. So the incompetent and the complacent are not the ones that will destroy an organization, because they'll never be in a place to have that much influence. It's those who have achieved something in the past and yet rest on that achievement from that point on that you should be leery of, because their closed minds and their dated knowledge will forever be an impediment for future growth. So, to me, man, when I heard kind of the lead in of what they were saying, it really started making some things click for me, because like I said, this is something that I've really spent a lot of time thinking through over the past couple months. It's something that I've really spent a lot of time just, I don't even know the right term for it, but almost kind of, I don't know. I'm struggling with the term here, but it's just something that I've really struggled with, knowing my place in how to deal with it, and what my part can be in fixing some of it. I guess that's kind of the best way I can explain it. And so kind of the basis of that is, who is leading our departments into the future? Who are we depending on to make this a better place for those coming behind us? And for me, speaking personally, I will say it's me. It's my group. I just crossed over the 20-year mark back in July, and so, you know, un, you know, good or bad, that puts me in, the older senior type category, which is now starting to be some of the higher up leaders in the fire service. No, we're not the oldest. You still got the 25, the 30s, and maybe even a few above that. But my my group, I would almost say, my generation, if you want to look at it just in the fire service terms of generations, we're the ones that have that weight on us right now. And it doesn't matter what we were given from, as new firefighters, or as up and coming firefighters, or driver, whatever. It doesn't matter how we were raised. It doesn't matter how much information we were given or not given. It is our responsibility to give those below us everything that they need. And it is our responsibility to make this a better place for them. And, that, if you wanted to call it a quote, or whatever, it really speaks to me, because I feel like my generation of fire service members are not doing a good job of that right now. I will include myself in that. I over the past couple of years, I've really had to fill in a lot of holes, because I had set myself up for failure. I had not continued in my education. I had not, maintained my skills. All of these things that you can very easily fall back on. That was me, and so I found myself in a spot where, luckily, I noticed it and was able to start addressing it. So, I've been in the process of trying to overcome some of those those holes that I dug myself. But that's that's kind of where I feel like we can make a huge difference in where we're at and where we could be. And it's those middle generations getting back into the job, not resting on the achievements that we may or may have not, had in the past, not resting on the knowledge of what we learned in rookie school or what we learned 10 years ago, not resting on the fact that we know the job, we know what we're doing, because we don't. Yes, you may have been one of the most highly trained firefighters in your area or whatever when you were new, or even when you were 5 to 10 year age range. But if you've been on 20 plus years and you have not done anything to improve on who that firefighter was, you know, 10, 15 years ago, you are sadly behind the curve. And speaking for myself, who I was pathetically behind the curve. I had no idea how much I didn't know. I had no idea how lacking my skills were, how deficient I was in the job. And so that's what we need to think about. A lot of us, we like to focus on the incompetent firefighters, the lazy firefighters, the complacent firefighters, and I'm not taking away from that being an issue. That is absolutely an issue. We need to pull those people over the fence, get them on the other side of that fence, or get them a different job. But that's not the people that are holding us back as the fire service. Those people are just who they are. They're nothing in the eyes of the big picture. What's holding us back as a fire service are those people that might have been at the top of their game 15, 20 years ago, who are leading the same areas in their department as they were back then. But they have not done anything to grow, to learn, to become better at anything in that area since that that original achievement, that original placement in the position of you are our guy in this position. You are the person that we look to as the subject matter expert in this area. Okay, that's an amazing. It's very humbling if that's who you were picked to be. If that's what your department felt about you, that would be a great accomplishment. But what are you doing to stay in that same mindset? What are you doing to stay on top of things like you were in the beginning? What are you doing to make sure that the direction you're leading those that are in your circle of influence, the whatever amount of power you have of decision making, what are you doing to guide those decisions to make sure they are the best decisions for today's fire service? Are you stuck in 2005 and know that when you were a firefighter back then, you put every fire out? You never went home with one still burning? You never went home with, somebody next to you not coming back with you. You never lost a civilian. You might have never saved one, but you never lost one. So I know how to do it. I've been doing it for 15, 20 years. I don't need anything else to change, because fire hasn't changed, blah, blah, blah. I'm obviously speaking in terms of just the irritating conversations that we've had with people. But is that who is running our organizations right now? Is that who is truly in charge of our fire service? And if so, why? Why do we feel that it is more important for that 30-year fire service member to be leading us in directions that they have no business anymore leading us, when that 15-year member who is plugged in, who is still fired up, who hasn't lost their passion, who hasn't become jaded, who hasn't become set in their old ways, when they could be leading us better, when they want to lead us better, not just, I'm tired of messing with all these new things. Just keep it how it is. I really struggle with that lately. I've really, really struggled with it lately. And it is frustrating to me when you have a department, or even if we're just talking about smaller units, if you have a crew, whatever, and you've got people that are doing everything they can to keep sharp and to continually grow and everything. They're doing great things, but they're not allowed to do anything to help their unit grow, or their department, because our guy in that area, that's his spot. He's been doing that for 20 years. He is our expert in that area, and we're going to leave the decisions up to him. I don't get it. I'm so frustrated with it, and so that's why I truly believe in this statement. It's those of us who have achieved that success in the past, or that knowledge, or that, they're just you got a solid set of skills and ability at one point, and then you just stop. You don't go any further. You don't improve. You don't look for new things, new tools, new systems, or techniques that people come up with. You just stop. You stop growing. You stop learning. You stop improving. And if you are a person that is put at a high position in certain decision-making areas, and that's who you are, you're also stopping the growth of that organization. You're stopping the learning in that organization. You're stopping any kind of improvement that organization could have, because of your mindset. Don't be afraid to relearn something that you think you know. And so, once again, I get, a little bit into these things, and I feel like I've kind of rambled on about some stuff, but I hope that I've made some points that really make you think. And, if you're struggling with this as well in your area, your department, just know that you're not alone. I promise you, because I don't know what to do about it, but I'm trying, and I'm going to keep trying. and sooner or later we'll figure something out. I've got to, for me personally, I've got to really focus on my delivery. That's probably been my biggest issue when I start feeling frustrations like this is, am I trying to make my voice known and my message heard in respectful, positive ways? Or am I allowing that frustration and that irritation to kind of cloud a lot of my thinking and a lot of my ability to have tact with my delivery? And with that being the case, I lose any momentum I might gain because I turn people off, because I'm passive aggressive, because I say something that immediately turns somebody defensive and immediately throws walls up in front of me. So that, for me, maybe that is helpful for somebody out there. If you're struggling with kind of what I'm talking about and haven't figured out what you can do about it, if I am not getting any good out of the passion and the message that I have, I can usually trace it back to how I am trying to transfer that to others, or how I'm trying to deliver that voice of change to others. Because when I am doing it in a respectful way, when I am, taking things to the chain of command in ways that they feel aren't threatening, I have a better chance of making changes. And so that's a big thing for me. Maybe it is for you as well. But just as I do a lot of times, I'll go back through this statement, this quote, whatever, and just kind of leave it at that. Let you think about what is being said. Let you think about how it's affecting you and your department and your crew, and maybe how it's something that can become a really good starting point of a conversation that needs to be had. So thank you for spending time with me today. I really appreciate it. I hope you've had a great 2022, and I hope you are looking forward to an even better 2023. And I will try my best to be a little bit more consistent in some of these podcasts. But leave it with this: the incompetent and complacent are not the ones that will destroy an organization, because they'll never be in a place to have that much influence. It's those who have achieved something in the past and yet rest on that achievement from that point on that you should be leery of, because their closed minds and dated knowledge will forever be an impediment for future growth. Keep doing good things out there, man. I know we are making headway. I see it every day. So many great people doing so many great things. Thank you for that. I want to help in any way I can to anybody out there doing good things. So until next time, stay humble and do work.